Yo guys, Beast, back with some more beastly content, and today we're going to be showing you how to run every single loot farm area as quickly as possible, as well as cover some lesser known farms that you may not be doing daily, that you need to be doing daily because they are extremely quick and extremely worth doing. So without further ado, let's get on into the first one right now. Alrighty, now before we actually get to the location, in the previous video I covered all of the items you want to be using while doing your farms. So in every one of these locations we are just going to go ahead and cover what items we're going to be using for this first lesser known farm that is just absolutely OP, every single player should be doing. You're actually going to want spectral cloaks. Now, these are unlocked from a magic specialization of 40, 45, and 50 slots. They're also usually sold in Oblivion or the other vending location in Manavis. Regardless, you want to be picking yourself up a spectral cloak because they give you the ability to turn invisible, which is going to be very, very important for the next farm areas that we're going to get to, which is actually going to be silos. So we're actually going to start at Silo 08, so I'll see you when we're there. Alrighty, and Silo 08 is located just outside of Oblivion, so you're just going to want to head to Oblivion and then take your way from Oblivion to Silo 08. Alrighty, and as you can see here, we are just outside of Silo 08. So we're going to go ahead and use our 3 whim items, being the Utter Delight, Spring Legs, as well as the load booster one being the Featherweight. So these are our 3 whims, and then we're going to go ahead and cloak up just before we get to this area, just so that we can run through it as quickly as possible. This is why I use the Spectral Cloak. It makes running these areas a lot quicker. As this is a silo area, and in silos temperature systems are a little different, we can actually use the double jump here. Also, this area is just not that hot, and I do have Crocodile Hide on my armor, so that's why it's not affecting me too bad. I'm able to run through here with the double jump, which makes running this a lot quicker because we can actually speed run through the entire outside area. This is going to be farmable every 4 hours. It's like any other normal loot location. And then after we do that, we can actually go ahead and head on into Silo 08, because if we take our Spectral Cloak and we cloak up inside of the silo, we can actually run through all 3 difficulties without even killing a single enemy. And we can actually collect every single chest in it, aside from the boss chest. And technically you can even collect those. You can go to the boss area, collect all the chests cloaked, and the boss won't even fight you. I wouldn't recommend that just because it's just activators on that final chest. That's why I usually just go to just before the boss fight, and then I dip out of it, go to the next difficulty, run it, dip out of it, go to the next difficulty. This is just some extra materials that you can be farming. There's a good like 200 or 300 rubber and a good at least 100 electronic parts from farming this silo, as well as the next silo we will be covering after Silo 08. But as you can see here, it's just an absolute blast. There's chests all over the place, there's tier 5 loot all over the place, and you can do it on all 3 difficulties. I mentioned Silo 08 first because it does have, you know, tier 5 loot no matter what, but the next one's going to be Silo Psi. As you can see, it's located right here in the Venja Ford area, right beside this teleport. Actually, this is my favorite teleporter to use here, just because you can actually just jump straight off the cliff from here, do yourself a little driving, and boop, jump out of your car, and boom, you're right here, Silo Psi. This is literally one of the quickest ones to get to. The other reason for mentioning this is because on the normal, hard, and pro difficulties, random environmental loot can actually be found to be a Dr. Teddy. And if you didn't know who Dr. Teddy is, well, Dr. Teddy is actually a deviation that will automatically heal your character when you throw it. So that is pretty cool. I will mention on this silo though, you're not actually going to be able to run through the entire thing invisible without having to fight enemies. There are a couple segments that will lock you to fight enemies, but you can run through enough of it to where you're getting a good amount of loot, even if you do just stop at that point and don't continue to farm. I would recommend doing maybe hard and the normal difficulty all the way through, but for the pro mode, I honestly would just recommend to run to this point here, loot every single chest in this room, and get the heck out, because honestly, it's not worth dealing with the lasers and everything else, and it may give you like a sour taste in your mouth for any farming that you're going to be doing for the rest of your night. So you may just, you know, want to skip doing this part here. But as you can see here, I actually cleared out the room here, and once you clear out the room, the door will open here. You can actually just hide behind a rail and cloak. I will say I hate these lasers. I have died way too many times with these, and that's the other reason why I don't recommend continuing through that doorway there, guys. Just don't even worry about it. Don't kill the enemies, just get out of here. Go to the hard mode, go to the normal mode, and just get out of here. Don't even mess with these lasers, because by the time you do this 3 times and the lasers have murdered you a bazillion times, you're just not going to want to do it. Maybe if you like lasers, or maybe if you're good at the lasers, I don't know, man, but I hate doing this silo after a certain point. You just get to that point to where it locks the doors where you have to kill enemies. Get out of there. You got enough loot from that. You're gonna be good. The only thing we actually did it on and actually went through the doorways was the hard mode. I think normal we unlock the doorway, but the lasers made me so angry I just said, well, I don't really care about the rest of this. Alrighty guys, so we are back at base now, so let me go ahead and explain everything real quickly. So like I said, we ran Silo 08 on all 3 difficulties as well as the area outside of it. We ran Silo Psi on all 3 difficulties as well as the area outside it. As for the 2 other silos and the black sector, I don't actually recommend farming them daily for your loot when you're just doing quick loot runs. The reason why I mentioned Psi and Silo 08 is because you can get pretty far into Psi and all the way through Silo 08 on all 3 difficulties while you're invisible, so this will allow you to run them super duper quickly. They're literally just going to be 5 to 10 extra minutes onto your daily farm runs, or multiple times a day depending on how many times you're farming. So let's go ahead and see how much materials we got out of this, and then I'm going to go ahead and speed run you through all the other locations that you do need to be farming. So here's the first disassembly, and it looks like there was only like a little bit extra here. We're going to go ahead and open the inventory now and get a full count of everything that we got. We're only going to be counting the stuff that's like actually important. So we got 31 platinum crystals, 133 special parts, 200 automatic parts, 500 adhesives, 700 metal scraps, 176 electronic parts, 264 rubber, 289 bulletproof fiber, I guess 160 chaosium for, you know, why not? 13 standard parts, 172 special plastic, all just from running those silos invisible. Literally takes at most a maximum of 15 minutes to run both of them. I wouldn't even say that, it's probably more like 10. But regardless, a good amount of loot. Let's go ahead and get this stored, and we're going to go ahead and get into our first farm run area. Alrighty guys, and the area we are actually going to be going to first is going to be getting the Wishland farms out of the way. I just like to do Wishland first because it is a major source of rubber, and what we're going to be taking with us today is going to be helium, as well as an all-weather stew, and then our 3 WIM items we normally take, as well as the enhanced snowmobile, and you know, the backpack expansion. Everything else we covered in the previous video. Let's go ahead and get on to the teleporter we're going to use now. So this is the actual teleporter I usually go to when I go to do a Wishland farm. So let's go ahead and head on over here on the map now, and as you can see right here, this is Wishland East, and I like to start in East, do all of East, and then we bust out the front door, zip over to here, and we're going to do West. So we're going to start at this teleporter right here, the Ocean View Teleport Tower. It's just underneath Camp Igloo, so I will meet you at Ocean View once I have my stew. Alrighty, and here we are, just outside of Ocean View Teleportation Tower. We're actually going to be heading to the road just to the left of us. We're going to drive all the way up this road, and we're actually just going to be jumping straight into Wishland. Now, we're going to start at the stage here. There are 2 trash cans here to loot. After we loot these 2 stages, we're going to take the ladder up, run past the 2 RVs, collect the 2 trash cans here, run down here, we're going to collect 2 dumpsters, and then there's 2 more dumpsters. Then we're going to go ahead and jump back over to where the flamingo is and the little thing there. Run up the ladder, collect the 2 chests there, collect the dumpsters there, and then run back through the zoo area where there is another set of dumpsters right here. And then we're going to jump over this fence here and be collecting the storage containers here. Jump over this here, collect the 2 storage containers here, and now we're going to be making ourselves out the front of this area here. Go to the left, collect the 2 trash cans, jump over this railing here, and then run over to this corner of nothing but dumpsters and trash cans. Loads and loads of loot right here, guys. Go ahead and collect all those. Collect these 2 trash cans, these 2, this one, and run into the movie theater. Collect the gear crate and go ahead and get out of there. There's a couple more boxes, but we're not going to show them because forget those. Now we're going to run into the restaurant and collect everything in it, and then go ahead and run right back out of it. And then we're going to run back to the little circle area, collect the 2 dumpsters besides the stairs before we do that. And then we're going to run back through to the other side of it, the right side of this first east side of Wishland. We're going to collect a few dumpsters on the way to it, but then there's this giant dumpster stash right here. So much loot right here, guys. And we go ahead and collect all that there. Now we're just going to collect the 2 dumpsters here and make ourselves towards the front of Wishland. So we're just kind of cutting through everything here. And as you can see, the 2 trash cans here. There's 2 more here. There's 1 here. Run through this gift shop. It's full of loot. So go ahead and collect the loot here. There's 2 trash cans here and 2 more trash cans here. Now we're just going to drop our vehicle, make a left, and hit the highway. We're going to head straight to Wishland West now, guys, because we are now onto the Wishland West side of things. So here we are on Wishland West, and we're going to go and start start with this left building. There's one storage container in it. We're going to run to the restaurant over here. There are 3 trash cans in the back, and then there's more loot on the tables and such, so go ahead and run through there and collect all of that. There's a trash can on the way up to this wall here. Go ahead and collect the storage container behind that, and the dumpster to the right. Also, I ran past the little walkway area here. I usually do this area first and then that area down there below after, but for some reason I did it first this time and left the storage container. I don't know. So past the claw machine, there's a little bit of loot down just beside him. You can just go ahead and avoid him. I don't even worry about cloaking in this area because it's such a low area anyway. So there's the first building. We went and collected the loot in there, and then we went to the second building, and just beside the second building there's a whole bunch of trash cans. Aside from the trash cans, there's a restroom. Go ahead and go into there. There's a bunch of loot in there. Also, there's that building. This is the section of Wishland West where you can choose to do it, but you don't really have to, especially if you're doing this daily, because this is just makes the run longer and you may not want to do that. So I like to run through here. There is a lot of extra loot here. You can actually just take this roller coaster up to here. It'll drop you right to these stairs here. Take the coaster from here all the way to the next area. It'll take you to the next area. The other reason I mention this area is because people don't actually know this. This is the closest thing you have to a mushroom or mushroom farm in this game outside of just growing mushrooms, and it's also a place to farm for mushrooms and mushroom seeds. So yeah, there's a cave to the left. It's full of mushrooms. To the right, there's a little bit of loot. That is pretty much the end of Wishland, and now we're gonna go ahead and get on into Frostforge. I like to do the Wishland and the Frostforge areas all at once just so that I can take care of them. We are going to be using the same items, Hedium and the Stew. Both of them are still active from farming Wishland, so we're just going to go ahead and get on into there. We're also using the enhanced snowmobile. We're going to go ahead and grab one more, but I will see you when we get there. Alrighty, and the Frostforge farm starts pretty quickly. You just jump straight from the teleporter all the way down this mountain here. You're going to be doing a glide all the way from this mountain all the way to the beginning of this farm area here. I like to hold down the forward key and then hit the left and right key super quickly while holding shift. It does seem to increase your speed and the distance you can actually go. Also aim your camera a little up. It may help you go just a little bit quicker. So here's the other thing. We're going to go ahead and open this storage container here, and then we're going to head through this cave right here. Now, we are cloaked, we pre-cloaked. That's another thing I recommend pre-cloaking on Frostforge. But as you can see here, we are just running through Frostforge here, collecting all the loot in here. We do have the enhanced snowplow active. You do actually have to click the use button. It'll show a little icon in your hotbar down there. But as you can see, we're just running through here, collecting all the loot. You want to run through the cave, and then you can run through all of this. You can collect most of the loot here, and then you can just take the little teleport tower in the center of the room. I actually got 2 Dark Rebel Bunnies in this one single run. Just thought that was pretty cool. So after we actually get to this area where that boss guy's at, go to the right, and you can actually run through the first loot building from the top, falling down into side of the building, and then you can run to the second building, which is actually a set of buildings. So you can actually start and loot this building right here, as you can see, then run back to the very back part of the building, loot the 3 chests up top, and then run back into the building, and you're just going to go through and collect all the loot in these chests here at Frostforge. We are going to be bringing both the cloak as well as a codium and an all-weather stew with us, as well as, you know, our 3 whims that are still active. So I'll see you at SunShroud. So we're going to be starting at the snake belly teleporter here. We're just going to spawn our vehicle and go ahead and start making ourselves down this little gravel road here. I kind of cut it off a little bit. We're just heading for this cave here. Upon reaching the cave, just before you actually get to the front of the cave, you're going to want to go ahead and activate your cloak so that you can run this as quickly as possible. We're just going to make our way through this cave all the way through here from this front entrance, collect this chest here, collect all the loot in this little room here, and then we're going to get into the back area where this fence is at, and normally you wouldn't be able to progress, but since I know how to get through this, let me go ahead and show you this right here. So you can actually jump on this rock right here and just like fall through here. You only need these spring legs to actually do it, though I have done it with the spring legs plus the energy drink before, and I don't know, it's probably just better to use the spring legs, but regardless, you can use spring legs or an energy drink to get through there. And you can just get instantly into this boss room where you can collect all the loot in here and all the loot chests. Then if you make your way up to the top here, you can actually exit back into here, where you can go through and loot all of this area here, which will just continuously take you to chest to chest to chest. There's just so many chests in this cave, and doing it invisible is so quick. You can just follow the route I'm taking here. As you can see here, I take this route usually because I can jump into the next boss chest room area super duper quickly as well, and this one is all weapon mods, and you can actually collect most of the weapons you need for a base build just from doing loot farms. So you should be able to do like any build you need just if you've done all your loot farm areas. Alrighty guys, so as we are at about 200 load capacity right now. We are going to go ahead and disassemble this. This was just from the cave here. 233 there. Was this just from the cave? This was, I actually think this was like Frost Forge and Wishland as well as the cave. But check that out there. 250 plus another number. So we're going to go ahead and see what our total is here before we put this all away here. So check it out here. 257 more electronic parts. That was a whopping 547 more rubber, 717 more adhesive, 1,000 more metal scraps plus 348. So over 1,000 metal scraps. 228 standard parts. Let's see here for the refined parts. We have 254. 54 of the rusted parts, and 48 of the special parts. So we only actually have 2 main areas to farm now, and the next area we're actually going to be doing here is actually going to be the FireThroat East Teleport Tower. So without further ado, we're actually just going to go ahead and pre-cloak, and that's something I want to mention about Frost Forge actually, is you want to be pre-cloaking when you do Frost Forge. But here we go, on to FireThroat. Let us go. Alrighty, and FireThroat's located right here, just in case you didn't know. So, right from the tower, we're going to be doing another one of those glide things. We're going to be jumping straight off the edge of this cliff, and we're just going to be gliding down all the way to the very front of the church. We're going to be collecting the 480 Chaosium that you can get just from looting this little pool here. This literally is one of the quickest tier 5 loot run areas you can do. I will say we're not doing it anywhere near complete. However, after we get to the church, we're going to jump straight from there down to all of these beautiful dumpsters here. We're then going to make ourselves over into this area, and be careful not to stab anybody, because once you do, you kind of script the whole farm and you don't get as much loot. So once again, I said this isn't a complete one. We kind of messed this one up. But overall, it's still a pretty decent run to do. This is like a quick way to do it. This is a quick run. I was in a hurry because I was trying to hit like before the reset hit, and then I realized I had to edit this video anyway, so I wasn't going to do a third farm this day anyway. So as you can see here though, that is the loot run for FireThroat. Alrighty, and real quickly here, we did have a bit of a death on the Ashenton, so I'm actually going to show you a better like way to enter Ashenton next. So without further ado, let's get on into it right now. We're going to be heading to Oblivion. Alrighty, and here we are in Oblivion. We're just going to go ahead and spawn our vehicle and make our way to Ashenton. So the way we're driving, we're actually going to go like beside the little farm building there, jump the lava pit, and keep driving down the road here. This will actually take you directly almost to the mall. There's actually a little zip line there. You can ride it up to the overpass, jump from the overpass to the mall, and then ride the zip line into the mall. It'll put you right in front of the stairs. This will allow you to farm the bottom area first. I just always do the bottom area first. I start from one side, I work all the way around it like a clock. Then I run up to this top side. I run all the way around it, collecting all from the shops. There's a storage area that you can collect from. There's all sorts of chests in this mall. This mall is loaded full of materials. You definitely want to be hitting this mall when you are doing Ashenton. This is like my least favorite farm run of the video, guys. I don't even like getting Ashenton that much, but it is so full of loot. I struggle myself through it every single day. My suggestions are to bring a spring legs and definitely bring an energy drink. Go ahead and drink yourself an energy drink when you're in here. You'll be fine. The temperatures aren't that bad, and you're going to want that energy drink to get over these dang lava pits. Because dying the lava sucks. I lost 95 electronic parts there. So there are 2 primary office buildings that are all going to be full of like tons and tons of loot on every single floor. This one's actually directly across from the guy that drops the Artesian's hand right here. And then the second one's beside it. And then there's also the mayor-looking building. And aside from that, I think that's about everything I needed to cover. So go ahead and leave a like on this video if you did enjoy it. And keep it beast mode. I am out. I see yas.